The research vessel Starlight Pioneer floated silently in the darkness of space. It was a small ship, built for science and discovery, not for war. 200 people lived aboard this ship. Most of them were scientists. They had come to study a new planet at the edge of known space. Captain Park Tae stood on the bridge and looked at the stars through the large window. He was a calm man, with gray hair and kind eyes. He had served in the Terran Navy for 30 years before taking this peaceful assignment. He thought his days of conflict were over. In the science lab below, Dr. Lee Hanna examined strange plants from the planet's surface. She was young and brilliant, with short black hair and glasses that she always pushed up her nose when she was thinking. She loved her work. She loved the quiet life on this ship. Lieutenant Kim Yuna sat at her communications console on the bridge. She was 26 years old, with a serious face and quick hands. Her job was to send and receive messages. Most days, nothing exciting happened. She would send reports to Earth and receive news from home. It was a boring job, but she did not mind. Everything changed in a single moment. The alarm screamed through the ship. Red lights flashed on every wall. Captain Park Tae looked at the sensor screen, and his blood turned cold. 15 warships had appeared from hyperspace. They surrounded the Pioneer like wolves around a wounded deer. "Captain," said the sensor officer, his voice shaking. "They are Kravik raiders." The Kravik were known across the galaxy as slavers and pirates. They attacked weak ships and took prisoners to sell. They had never attacked humans before. They had only heard stories about humanity, stories they did not believe. A face appeared on the main screen. It was Commander Torek of the Kravik Empire. He was a tall creature with gray skin, sharp teeth, and 4 eyes that burned with greed. He smiled at Captain Park Tae. "Human vessel," Torek said. "You will surrender now. Your crew will become our property. If you resist, we will kill half of you and take the rest. Choose quickly." Captain Park Tae stood straight. His voice was steady. "Commander, I must warn you. Attacking a human vessel is a serious mistake. Our military will respond. You should leave now while you still can." Torek laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Your military? We have heard the stories, human. We do not believe them. You are scientists. You have no weapons. You are far from home. No one will save you." "You are wrong," said Captain Park Tae. "You are very wrong." Torek stopped laughing. His 4 eyes narrowed. "Fire on them. Destroy their engines. Teach them fear." The first blast hit the Pioneer like a hammer. The ship shook violently. Lights went out. Screens exploded. Captain Park Tae was thrown to the floor. He heard screaming from somewhere below. "Damage report," he shouted. "Engines destroyed. Shields at 12%. We have casualties, Captain. 12 confirmed dead. 12 people. Gone in an instant. Scientists who had families waiting for them on Earth. People who had done nothing wrong." Lieutenant Kim Yuna pulled herself back to her console. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were focused. She knew what she had to do. In the lower decks, Sergeant Osiok gathered his small team of Marines. There were only 20 soldiers on the whole ship. They were meant to handle small problems, not a full invasion, but Osiok did not care about the odds. He was a Marine. He would fight. "Listen to me," he said to his soldiers. "We hold them as long as we can. We protect the crew. Help is coming." "Sergeant," said a young Marine. "How can you be sure help will come?" Osiok loaded his rifle. "Because we are human. We never leave our own behind. Never. Onavarman. When you are Sumos. When you are Sumos. Onavarman. On the bridge, Lieutenant Kim Yuna typed rapidly on her console. The Kravik were jamming most frequencies, but there was one signal they could not block. The Terran emergency beacon. It was old technology, built into every human ship. It could reach across the entire galaxy in minutes. Captain Park Tae saw what she was doing. He nodded at her. "Send it, Lieutenant. Let them know." Kim Yuna pressed the button. 3 simple words went out into the darkness of space. 3 words that would change everything. SOS. Humans in danger. The signal traveled at speeds that broke the laws of physics. It reached Earth in moments. It reached Mars. It reached every human colony and every human ship. And it reached the aliens too. On 100 different worlds, alien species detected the human distress signal. In the great halls of the Galactic Council, alarms began to ring. Leaders stopped their meetings. Commanders froze at their posts. Everyone knew what this signal meant. An old Lunari elder, a being who had lived for 1,000 years, heard the news. Her face became pale. Her hands began to shake. She had seen many terrible things in her long life, but nothing frightened her more than this. "What is wrong?" asked a young aide. The elder's voice was barely a whisper. "The humans have called for help. Someone has attacked their people." She closed her eyes. "May the stars have mercy on whoever did this, because the humans will not." Across the galaxy, the most powerful war fleet ever built began to wake. Engines that had been sleeping for decades roared to life. Weapons that could crack planets, charged with terrible energy. And 400 ships, each one a monster of steel and fire, prepared to answer the call. The Black Fleet was coming, and nothing in the universe could stop them. The Galactic Council chamber was the largest room ever built by any species. 1,000 representatives from 500 worlds sat in circles that rose toward a ceiling so high it had its own clouds. This was where peace was made. This was where wars were stopped. Today, there was only panic. Ambassador Vel ran into the chamber. He was a tall reptilian creature with green scales and intelligent eyes. He was known for being calm in every situation. Today, he was not calm. "Emergency session," he shouted. "All representatives must hear this now." The great chamber fell silent. Every eye turned to him. "A human distress signal has been detected," Vel said. "A human ship has been attacked in the outer rim. By the Kravik." For a moment, no one moved. Then chaos exploded. Representatives began shouting. Some called for their ships to leave the sector immediately. Others demanded to know who was responsible. A few simply sat in stunned silence, their faces filled with dread. An old voice cut through the noise. "Silence. All of you." Everyone stopped. The speaker was Counselor Mira of the Lunari. She was ancient beyond measure, with silver skin and eyes that had seen the birth and death of empires. When she spoke, everyone listened. "I see fear on your faces," she said slowly. "Good. You should be afraid. Let me tell you why." Minus faces. "Good. 1-1 with you. You should be afraid. Let me tell you why." She stood, her old bones creaking. "Many of you are young. You have never seen the humans at war. You only know them as traders and explorers. You think they are like us. You are wrong." Mira walked to the center of the chamber. "I was alive when the humans first left their world. They were primitive. They fought each other, constantly. We thought they would destroy themselves. We were almost right." She paused, letting the words sink in. "But they did not destroy themselves. They unified. And the wars they fought against each other? They were more violent than anything our galaxy has ever seen. They killed millions of their own kind. Not for territory. Not for resources. They fought over ideas. Over beliefs. They nearly burned their own planet." A young representative raised his hand. "But that was long ago. They are peaceful now." Mira laughed, but there was no joy in it. "Peaceful? No. They are patient. There is a difference. Let me tell you about the day the Galactic Council threatened them." The chamber grew even quieter. "It was 200 years ago. We told the humans they were expanding too fast. We said they must slow down or face consequences. Do you know what they did? Nunder. I'm please sighed. I'm mind. I'm pleaser. It was 200 years ago. She let the question hang in the air. They built a fleet. In 5 years, they built more warships than all other species combined. And on the day they finished, they held a parade. Every single ship flew past their sun in formation. The fleet was so large, so massive, that it blocked the light of their own star. For 6 hours, their planet went dark, and they sent us a message. Mira's voice dropped to a whisper. The message said, "We are ready for consequences. Are you?" The chamber was absolutely silent. "We never threatened them again," Mira said. "And now, someone has attacked their people, killed their citizens. The humans have a saying, 'Touch one of us, and you touch all of us.' The Kravik have touched them. Now they will learn what that means." Far across the galaxy, on the wounded Pioneer, the lesson was already beginning. Sergeant Osioke crouched behind a barricade made of broken furniture and metal plates. His rifle was hot from firing. 3 of his Marines were wounded. The Kravik kept coming. "Hold the line," he shouted. "They are coming. Do not let them pass." The Kravik soldiers were strong and fast, but they were not prepared for human resistance. They expected the crew to surrender. Instead, they found scientists fighting with tools and Marines fighting with fury. In the science lab, Dr. Lee Hanna worked quickly. She was not a soldier, but she was clever. She mixed chemicals from her research supplies. The result was a gas that burned Kravik eyes and made them scream. She released it into the ventilation system of the invaded sections. "This is for my friends," she whispered as she pressed the button. On the bridge, Captain Park Tae refused to leave his post. A piece of metal was stuck in his side. Blood soaked his uniform. But he stood at his console, directing the defense. A young officer begged him to go to medical. Park Tae shook his head. "I will stand here until help arrives or until I die. That is my duty." Lieutenant Kim Yuna worked beside him, monitoring every channel. "Captain, I am receiving a response to our signal. It is from Mars, Command." Park Tae closed his eyes. "Read it. It says, 'Signal received. The 7th Armada is mobilizing. Hold on. We are coming.'" Park Tae smiled despite his pain. "The Black Fleet. Tell the crew. Tell everyone. Help is coming." On Mars, Admiral Han Dae had been at his daughter's birthday party when the signal came. He was laughing, watching her open presents, when his communicator buzzed with the emergency code. He read the message. His face changed. The laughter died. His daughter looked up at him. "Daddy, what is wrong?" Han Dae knelt beside her. He was a large man with a hard face, but his eyes were gentle when he looked at his child. "Daddy has to go to work. Some of our people need help. Will you save them?" He kissed her forehead. "Yes, I will save them." Quote, he walked out of the house without looking back. Within 1 hour, 400 warships began to power their engines. The Black Fleet had not been fully deployed in 40 years. Most species thought it was a legend. They were about to learn the truth. Commander Torek finally broke through the last defenses on the Pioneer. His soldiers dragged Captain Park Tae to the bridge at gunpoint. Torek smiled his ugly smile. "You fought well, human. But it is over. Your ship is mine. Your crew is mine." Park Tae looked at him with no fear in his eyes. "You should check your sensors." Torek frowned. He turned to look at the viewport. The stars were disappearing. One by one, they were going dark. Not because they were dying, because something was blocking them. Something massive. Ships, hundreds of ships, dropping out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Each one was larger than anything Torek had ever seen. Their hulls were black as night. Their weapons glowed with blue fire. The Black Fleet had arrived, and Commander Torek finally understood what fear truly meant. 400 warships hung in space like a wall of darkness. Each one was a monster of metal and fire. The smallest was 2 kilometers long. The largest, the flagship Unyielding Fury, stretched 12 kilometers from bow to stern. It carried enough weapons to destroy a planet. Commander Torix stared at the fleet through the viewport. His 4 eyes were wide. His gray skin had turned pale. For the first time in his life, he could not speak. Captain Park Tae, still bleeding from his wound, smiled. "I warned you." A voice came through every speaker on every ship in the area. It was calm. It was cold. It was absolute. "This is Admiral Han Dae, of the Terran 7th Armada. You have attacked a vessel carrying our people. You have killed our citizens." Torix's hands began to shake. "You have made the last mistake your species will ever make collectively. You have 60 seconds to release all human hostages and surrender unconditionally. This offer will not be repeated." The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. One of Torix's officers whispered, "Commander, we should surrender. Those ships, I have never seen anything like them." Torix's fear turned to anger. He had built his reputation on strength. He had never backed down from a fight. He would not start now. "They are bluffing," he snarled. "No species would start a war over one small ship. Attack them. Show them we are not afraid. Commander, please." "I said attack." The 15 Kravik warships opened fire on the Unyielding Fury. Missiles streaked through space. Energy beams cut through the darkness. It was everything they had. The attacks splashed harmlessly against the human flagship's shields. The blue energy barrier did not even flicker. It was like throwing stones at a mountain. On the bridge of the Unyielding Fury, Admiral Han Dae watched the attack on his display screen. His face showed no emotion. He had seen war many times. He had no patience for those who harmed innocent people. "Admiral," said his weapons officer, "they have refused to surrender. They are attacking us." Han Dae nodded slowly. "Then they have chosen their fate." He pressed a single button on his console and spoke one word. "Denied." The Black Fleet opened fire. What happened next was not a battle. It was an execution. The human ships used weapons that most species did not know existed. Plasma cannons that fired bolts of compressed starfire. Gravity bombs that crushed metal like paper. Railguns that launched projectiles at a fraction of the speed of light. In 47 seconds, 11 Kravik warships ceased to exist. They did not explode. They did not burn. They simply came apart, broken into atoms by forces beyond understanding. Commander Torix watched his fleet die. His officers screamed and ran. Alarms filled the bridge with terrible sound. On the Pioneer, Captain Park Tae watched through the viewport with grim satisfaction. "You should have listened," he said quietly. While the battle raged outside, human dropships launched from the larger vessels. They moved fast and quiet, slipping between explosions toward the wounded Pioneer. Inside the dropships, Terran Marines prepared for combat. They wore power armor that made them twice as strong and 3 times as fast as normal humans. Their weapons could punch through walls. Their training was the best in the galaxy. "Remember," said the squad leader through the radio, "our people are on that ship. Save every human. Kill every enemy. No exceptions." The dropships hit the Pioneer's hull and cut through with laser torches. Marines poured into the ship like water through a broken dam. Sergeant Oh Seok was still fighting in the lower corridors. He had 2 wounded Marines behind him. His rifle was nearly out of power. 3 Kravik soldiers advanced toward him. "Come on then," he growled. "I am not done yet." Suddenly, the wall behind the Kravik exploded inward. A massive figure in black armor stepped through the smoke. Before the Kravik could react, they were dead on the floor. The armored Marine lifted his visor. He looked at Oh Seok and nodded. "Sergeant, you held the line." Oh Seok felt his legs go weak. Relief washed over him like a wave. "We always come," said the Marine. "Get your wounded to the medical bay. We will handle the rest." Across the ship, Similar scenes played out. Marines moved through every corridor, every room. Kravik soldiers fell before them like grass before a fire. Doctor. Lihana was found barricaded in her lab, surrounded by the bodies of aliens she had fought with nothing but chemical weapons and her own courage. "Are you injured?" asked the Marine who found her. Hana looked at him with exhausted eyes. "Just tired." "Did we win?" The Marine almost smiled. "We always win." On the bridge of the Pioneer, Commander Torek made his final mistake. When the Marines breached the door, he grabbed Captain Park Tay and held a blade to his throat. "Stay back," Torek screamed. "I will kill him. I swear I will." The Marines stopped. Park Tay remained calm, despite the blade pressing against his skin. "You do not want to do this," one Marine said slowly. "Put down the weapon. Surrender." "No. You will give me a ship. You will let me leave." Behind the Marine squad, a sniper quietly raised her rifle. She looked through her scope. The gap between Torek's arm and Park Tay's head was exactly 3 centimeters. She did not hesitate. The shot was perfect. Torek's blade clattered to the floor. His body followed a moment later. Captain Park Tay stumbled forward. The Marines caught him before he could fall. "Medical team," shouted the squad leader. "Get the captain to the ship now." As they carried him away, Park Tay looked back at the bridge one last time. Through the viewport, he could see the 4 surviving Kravik ships trying to flee. They ran as fast as their engines could carry them. On the unyielding Fury, Admiral Han Day watched them go. His weapons officer looked at him. "Should we pursue, Admiral?" Han Day shook his head slowly. "Let them run. Let them go home and tell their leaders what they saw here." He pressed a button to open a channel to the Kravik homeworld. "This is Admiral Han Day. Your ships have 60 hours to return to your space. After that, we are coming to your worlds. We will discuss what happens to those who harm our people. I suggest you prepare your surrender." He closed the channel and turned to his crew. "Begin rescue operations. Save every human on that ship. Then we wait." The waiting had begun. And for the Kravik Empire, the nightmare was just starting. The video spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Every species saw it. Every world watched it in horror. 15 Kravik warships had attacked a single human research vessel. In response, 400 human warships had appeared. In less than 1 minute, 11 Kravik ships were destroyed. The battle footage was analyzed by military experts from 100 different civilizations. Their conclusions were all the same. The Black Fleet had used less than 2% of its firepower. They had not even tried. On the Kravik homeworld, panic had taken hold. The streets were filled with people demanding answers. The government was falling apart. Leaders blamed each other. Generals fought with politicians. Everyone could see the human fleet waiting in space. Everyone knew what was coming. The 4 ships that survived the battle had returned home. Their crews told stories that no one wanted to believe. They described weapons that could crack moons, shields that could not be broken, soldiers who felt no fear and showed no mercy. They moved like ghosts. One survivor whispered to his family, "We shot them. The shots did nothing. They just kept coming. They killed us like we were insects." In the Great Hall of the Kravik Empire, the remaining leaders gathered to discuss their options. Some wanted to fight. They said the humans could not defeat an entire empire. They said the fleet was far from home and would have to leave eventually. Others knew better. They had studied human history. They had seen what happened to those who fought humanity. "We must surrender," said an old general. His voice was tired. "If we fight, they will destroy us. Not just our fleet. Our worlds, our species, everything." "We are warriors," shouted a young commander. "We do not surrender." The old general looked at him with sad eyes. "The humans are warriors too. Better ones. We attacked their scientists. They're innocent people. They will not forgive this. Our only hope is to beg for mercy. Before anyone could respond, a message arrived. It was from Admiral Han Day. His terms were simple and absolute. First, all Kravik military forces must surrender unconditionally. Second, the Kravik raider fleet must be permanently destroyed. Third, money must be paid to the families of the 12 humans who died. Fourth, every officer who served under Commander Torek must face trial for war crimes. Fifth, the Kravik Empire had 48 hours to accept. And if we refuse? Someone asked. The old general read the final line of the message. His face went pale. If we refuse, they will come for our worlds. They will not stop until every Kravik city is ash. The room fell silent. Far away, in the great chamber of the Galactic Council, Ambassador Vel pleaded with the assembled representatives. We must intervene, he said desperately. We must ask the humans for mercy. The Kravik made a mistake, yes. But this response is too extreme. Counselor Mira stood slowly. The ancient Lunari looked at Vel with something like pity. You want us to ask humans for mercy? She said. You do not understand. We cannot ask them for mercy. We can only thank the universe when they choose to show it. But surely, listen to me carefully. Mira interrupted. The humans have given the Kravik a chance to surrender. That is their mercy. Before the battle, they offered 60 seconds to release the hostages. That was their mercy. They let 4 ships escape to deliver their message. That was their mercy. She walked to the center of the chamber. I have lived 1,000 years. I have seen the humans when they are truly angry. This is not anger. This is disappointment. If the humans were truly angry, they would already be burning Kravik worlds. They would not negotiate. They would not give ultimatums. They would simply destroy. Ambassador Vel sat down slowly. Then there is nothing we can do? We can pray that the Kravik are wise enough to surrender. We can stay out of the humans' way. And we can learn from this lesson. Mira looked around the chamber. Never touch a human. Never harm their people. Never give them a reason to wake their fleets. Because when humans come for you, nothing in the galaxy can save you. On the unyielding Fury, Dr. Lee Hanna lay in a medical bed. Her wounds had been treated. She was safe. A military journalist sat beside her, recording an interview. You fought back against the Kravik, the journalist said. You used chemicals to hurt them. You defended your lab. Hanna thought about the question. Of course I was scared. We all were. But I was never hopeless. She paused. I knew help was coming. I just had to survive long enough. Every human knows this truth. We always come for each other. That is what makes us human. The journalist nodded. And now? How do you feel now that it is over? It is not over for the 12 who died. Hanna's eyes grew wet. They had families. They had dreams. They came to study the stars, not to fight a war. I will carry their memory forever. With only hours left before the deadline, the Kravik Empire made its decision. The old general stood before the human fleet and spoke the words that saved his species. We surrender, unconditionally. We accept all terms. One by one, Kravik warships powered down their weapons. Leaders came forward to present themselves for judgment. The raider fleet was dismantled, ship by ship. Admiral Han Day watched the surrender from his bridge. His face showed no satisfaction. Only duty completed. Then a new message arrived from Earth Command. His expression changed. What is it, Admiral? Asked his aide. Han Day's jaw tightened. Kravik hardliners. They refuse to accept the surrender. They have attacked a human colony near Kravik space. Orders, sir? The Admiral stood. The Black Fleet will handle it. Tell Earth to send the 3rd and 9th Armadas as backup. His aide's eyes widened. 3 fleets, Admiral? Is that not excessive? Han Day looked at him coldly. 1,200 ships for those who kill our people. I want them to understand. I want everyone to understand. There is no limit to what we will send. There is no force too large. When you hurt one human, you face all of humanity. He turned back to the viewport. And if the galaxy thinks the Seventh Armada is frightening, wait until they see what the others can do. The aide swallowed hard and went to send the message. Across the galaxy, species who had been watching the situation realized something terrifying. The Black Fleet was not humanity's only weapon. It was not even their strongest. 3 months had passed since the attack on the Starlight Pioneer. The galaxy had changed forever. The Kravik hardliners who refused to surrender lasted exactly 2 weeks. When 3 human fleets arrived at their stronghold, they fought with everything they had. It was not enough. 1,200 warships surrounded them. The battle, if it could be called that, ended in 3 hours. Now the Kravik Empire existed only in history books. Their worlds remained, but their military was gone. Human soldiers walked their streets. Human judges sat in their courts. The species that had once terrorized the Outer Rim now lived under Terran supervision, learning what it meant to be peaceful. On Earth, the crew of the Pioneer came home as heroes. Captain Park Tae stood on a stage in front of millions. He had recovered from his wounds, though a scar now marked his side where the metal had pierced him. The President of Earth herself placed the Medal of Terra around his neck. "For courage beyond measure," she said. "For holding the line when all seemed lost. For showing the galaxy what it means to be human." Park Tae looked out at the crowd. He thought about the 12 who did not come home. He spoke their names in his heart. "I accept this honor," he said quietly. "For those who could not be here. They were scientists, explorers, dreamers. They deserve to live. I will carry their memory until my last breath." Lieutenant Kim Yuna was promoted to commander. Earth Command offered her any position she wanted. She could have worked at headquarters. She could have commanded her own ship. Instead, she asked for something different. "I want to go back to space," she said. "I want to send messages. I want to be there when our people need help. That is where I belong." She was assigned to a new ship, larger and stronger than the Pioneer. But her job remained the same. She sat at a communications console, ready to send the signal that would bring humanity's full might to protect its own. Dr. Lee Hanna returned to her research. She had seen war. She had fought with chemicals and courage. But she was a scientist in her heart, and science was where she wanted to be. "The universe is full of wonders," she told a reporter. "I want to study them. I want to understand them. But I will never forget that I am human first. If my people need me, I will fight again." Sergeant Osiok became a legend among the Terran Marines. Cadets at the academy studied his defense of the Pioneer. They learned how 20 soldiers held hundreds of enemies for hours. One day, a young cadet asked him a question during a lecture. "Sergeant, during the attack, were you afraid to die?" Osiok thought about his answer carefully. "I was not afraid to die," he said finally. "I was afraid I might fail. My job was not to survive. My job was to hold the line until my family arrived. And when I say family, I do not mean my blood relatives. I mean every human, everywhere. We are all family. When you understand that, death does not seem so terrible." Admiral Hyundai remained with the Black Fleet. Some said he should retire. He had won the greatest victory in Terran history. He had shown the galaxy what humanity could do. But he refused to leave. "My job is not finished," he said. "It will never be finished. Somewhere out there, some fool will look at our people and see weakness. They will attack us. And when they do, I will be waiting." He stood alone on the observation deck of the unyielding Fury, looking at the stars. His aide found him there one evening. "Admiral, may I ask you something?" "Go ahead. Do you regret any of it? The destruction? The death?" Hyundai was quiet for a long moment. "I regret that 12 of our people died before we could reach them. Every night, I think about those 12 lives. I think about what they could have become, what they could have given the universe, He turned to look at his aide. The enemy? No. I do not regret the enemy. They made their choice. They knew what they were doing. I simply answered them. In the Galactic Council, the balance of power shifted forever. Species that had once seen humans as young and foolish now understood the truth. Humans were young, yes, but they were also the most dangerous force in the galaxy. Counselor Mira proposed a new law. Her words echoed through the great chamber. No species shall attack, capture, or harm any human vessel, station, or colony under any circumstances. Any violation of this law will be considered an act of war against all civilized species. The law passed without a single vote against it. Ambassador Vell was asked if the law seemed extreme. His answer was broadcast across 1,000 worlds. Extreme? No. This is survival. I have seen what happens when you hurt a human. I have watched their fleet turn stars dark with their numbers. This law does not protect humans from us. It protects us from them. Years passed. The story of the Starlight Pioneer became a legend. Children across the galaxy grew up hearing about the SOS that shook the universe. One day, in a busy spaceport on a neutral world, a young alien child watched a human family walking past. The father carried a small girl on his shoulders. The mother held a boy's hand. They were laughing about something. Why is everyone afraid of them? The child asked her parent. They seem so nice. The parent knelt beside the child and pointed at the family. See how they hold their children? How they smile at each other. That is why we fear them. They love each other more than anything in the universe. More than money. More than power. More than their own lives. The parent paused. They would burn the galaxy to protect that love. They nearly have. And they would do it again without hesitation. That is why we do not touch them. They would do it again. Arwav. Ever. Commander Kim Yuna, now older and wiser, visited the memorial for the 12 who died on the Pioneer. It was a quiet place. Built on a hill, overlooking the ocean on Earth. 12 stones stood in a circle, each one carved with a name. She touched each stone. She remembered each face. A young officer had followed her there. She stood behind Kim Yuna, watching in respectful silence. Commander, the young officer finally said, may I ask you something? Yes. When you sent that SOS, were you frightened? Kim Yuna smiled softly. She looked out at the ocean, at the sun setting over the water. Frightened? No. She turned to face the young officer. I knew exactly what would happen when I pressed that button. The entire galaxy would tremble. Fleets would wake. Stars would go dark behind walls of warships, because that is what happens when you hurt one of us. She looked back at the memorial. Every human who ever lived or ever will live answers that call. We are never alone. We are never abandoned. We are never forgotten. Her voice grew stronger. And our enemies? They learn this lesson only once. Because after they hurt us, after they see what comes for them, she touched the final stone. They never forget it. The sun set. The stars came out. And somewhere in the darkness of space, human ships patrolled the borders, watching and waiting, ready to answer the next call, ready to remind the universe why you never touch humanity. Because when one of them bleeds, all of them come, and nothing can stop them. Nothing ever will.